Many executives, software house development representatives, consulting companies representatives are thinking about this. Is artificial intelligence really a huge market, or it's a lot of words slash buzzwords, but in fact there's not so much business there and there's not so many implementations? Today I'm going to tell you about, there is no doubt there is a business and it's not only a buzzword, and the point is how to get there, unlock the business and actually be part of it. This video is probably mostly for software development companies, consultants, but also maybe for those executives who struggle to build a use case and introduce artificial intelligence and automation to the enterprise. I will elaborate on several elements, several items that are critical in unlocking a growth if you are a consulting slash software development company, but also if you are an executive in the large enterprise or medium-sized enterprise, as steps that you might leverage to actually bring artificial intelligence and automation to your company. First of all, sounds bizarre, but introduce yourself right. Artificial intelligence has been for a while in the mainstream, and people learned that if you want to reduce significantly a time from idea to implementation, you need to have a domain knowledge. So for instance, executives are searching for artificial intelligence healthcare specialists or artificial intelligence specialists with fluency in automotive market. This makes a lot of sense if you think about artificial intelligence from implementation perspective. Usually that works if you know what you want to achieve and you just need people who will design the project, milestones, conduct the project, elaborate on risks, eventually stop the project if it doesn't work out as you wish. But that's the implementation part. A step ahead of that is where we want to get there, how we want to get there, and what's our North Star. And that's where AI strategists plays important role to work with executives on the strategy, direction, and then scope and projects, fields and project scopes. And introducing yourself right influence who are you talking to and what are you talking about. So if you are approaching a company that's been in artificial intelligence area for a while, they are probably searching for a lot of help with implementation, optimization, digitalization, and things that required a lot of domain expertise. And probably artificial intelligence strategist is already there. But if you are talking to a company that doesn't automate a lot, and artificial intelligence might be an offsite project or maybe a trial still, AI strategist is something important. So first of all, to unlock the business, it's critical to introduce yourself right, which is also connected to understand where your customer is. If you're an executive in a large or medium-sized company, you also need to understand who you should bring on the board. If it's going to be AI strategist, because we want to see where we're going to go, how we want to get there, what kind of resources we need to plan it, what's our project portfolio is going to be, or bring implementators that are fluent in a specific domain. So that's the first important question you probably should consider asking before approaching that business. Second element is getting people on the same page. Entering the company, you probably will deal with people from different level of management, high-level people, and with a more like generalist view about the company, general managers, CIOs, CDOs, chief executive officers, but heads of departments, specialists will be there too. Getting everybody on the same page through workshops, it's very, very important. I realized that if you skip workshops, and if you skip workshops for everybody, people might be a little bit lost, but at the same time, they will be communicated with you using different language, meaning terms and definitions, but also using a different way to approach artificial intelligence and automation. Some of them would like to reduce costs, some of them will be doing that for fun, and some of them will be just doing that for bringing innovation to the enterprise. So getting everybody on the same page is very important. And don't, if that's a problem, don't really bother yourself in talking about foundations of artificial intelligence, like different algorithms, different models, different data sets, supervised or unsupervised, labeled or not labeled, because some of the people might be bored and they would say, hey, we already know that, but some of the people might discover that as something new. But the goal is to get somebody on people on the same page. And how it's correlated to unlocking the growth, it's because if people get lost and they will see that there's a lot of buzzwording, a lot of talking about AI, but there is no critical terms, definition, approach to the project explained, they might stop the project at the proof of concept phase. And obviously that will not unlock a lot of business. And from executives' point of view, this will also mean that proof of concept will not be successful, not only because of that people are not the same page, because there are any other factors, but that's one of the factors I found critical, getting everybody on the same page. And I think AI, it's such a wide area, and there is so much buzz in newspapers and magazines that people might actually approach artificial intelligence on the high scope, and workshopping will also help you to narrow down the understanding of AI to those boundaries which are critical for your project and for this particular company. Number third is preparing a use case. Use case is very, very, very critical, because if you are testing artificial intelligence, or you already have projects implemented with AI and they are AI powered, but you want to open another one, 95% of these projects are going through proof of concept phase. Most of the companies don't have enough data trained to just jump into another AI initiative and say, hey, we are sure we wanted to do it, it will scale, and the investments is actually something we are 100% sure we need to get done. Usually it's going through proof of concept. But to build a proof of concept, it's great to find a use case that you can deliver within 3, maximum 6 months. Which means that proof of concept should be about 3 months, and then the first implementation phase with the clear output should be done within the next 6 months. And what does it mean, a clear output that all the executives want to see? The best way is to calculate how many FTEs can be saved after the proof of concept. FTEs will be very helpful and easy to calculate. Why? Simply because if you automate the process and you will remove manual task from that process, that saved time will convert to time that can be used by people to conduct another tasks. So automation doesn't mean you will let people go, but you will mean that you will unlock a time that can invest in something more valuable with the higher margin value for your enterprise. And this is very important to prepare the good use case. So if you want to unlock a lot of opportunities and actually bring business to the table, the great use case, which is a short term with a clear output, usually I would suggest to aim at FTEs, saving people times, and it's very critical. But there is one more thing it's very often important, and not many consultants and software development houses and other are actually delivering is calculating return of investment. And from executives point of view, I found it very important to expect that from your vendors. Every time you want to build a use case and you want to see, okay, we are going to save so many FTEs, I would also suggest to prepare the return of investment, even calculation and simulation. If it's very simple, I think it's very critical because it sets the direction. It's like building a diversity in a company from the very beginning, and that company will have the diversity in its DNA. Building ROI case at the very beginning, it will have the return of investment as the direction in the DNA of that particular proof of concept. That will help you unlock a lot of business because enterprise will see what works or not in terms of money, time, and cost and quality. And from executive perspective, this is also a great argument, evidence, for to say, hey, we are going to kill this particular proof of concept because of the ROI perspective, not because the technology doesn't work or we don't have time for it. So this will actually increase the chances to open those projects that will bring a lot of business to your company. The next thing is betting on short term. Usually artificial intelligence projects require data sets. Those data sets should be properly designed, delivered with enough volume, velocity, and value. And this is very important to aim in the short term. Let me give you an example that I saw at one of the conferences online of GoPro. GoPro is famous for building one of the best high-resolution cameras for those people that like to that like extreme sports, but not only, but that's what GoPro is famous for. And GoPro wanted to introduce artificial intelligence to the cameras and mobile apps that helps users organize photos and videos taken by those magnificent cameras. And GoPro was a billion-dollar company, but they started from the very, very beginning with one person conducting 2-3 months projects with cleared output. And the output was pretty small. One of the projects they mentioned was very critical for them was to automatically organize photos in mobile apps so they can divide them in 4 categories: animals, people, landscape, and something else. I don't remember. But that was the first goal. And this goal was actually very huge. To make that simulation at the very high precision level was not that easy. So GoPro divide that goal to 4 goals, which one of them was deliver categorization of photos with animals in them only. So make sure that your output will be delivered within short-term period, ideally 3-4 months, 1 quarter, but also make sure that it's small enough to explain if that will be a bigger project, what else you are going to achieve with the same models, with the same automation. In this particular example with GoPro, if you organize pictures of animals, then you will convince board of directors that organizing landscape, people, and other categories will be can be achieved in the defined period of time with the defined level of cost. So that would be element number 4. Element number 5, proof of concept might be the ultimate goal. I realized that not many, but some of the executives I work with, they were kind of not happy that the proof of concept was closed and they couldn't turn that proof of concept to the full scope project. I met software houses and consulting companies that were not very happy and proud of delivering only proof of concept. Some of the reasons were very clear that, for instance, customers couldn't deliver more because of the budget constraints, or they were not able to move that solution to cloud because of the corporate governance rules and any other factors that were not actually in hands of vendors. But proof of concept, it's a magnificent project. It's an amazing step, even if it's the only one step you deliver. Why? Because proof of concept will actually save your customers from pumping a lot of money into something that will eventually not work. I'm not saying it will not work at all, but it might be in the middle of the scale, which we don't want. Instead of having like 75% of the precision, you will have a 50%, and then a lot of unclear issues how to get to 75%. So sometimes proof of concept is an amazing step, the only step, which I believe is a great one. How it can unlock a lot of growth for you, because I mentioned at the beginning that there is a way to get to AI money. I don't like that term, but that's the ultimate goal. Run as many proof of concept as possible. That's one of the rules that is mentioned by the great leaders around the world, like for instance, Jeff Bezos. He was conducting more than 10,000 experiments per year. No, excuse me, that was a Procter & Gamble example with 10,000 experiments per year to find few use cases and proof of concept which will be relevant for further implementation and scaling exercise across the whole global organization. So don't expect, I'm sorry, I'm saying like this so directly, but don't expect that the one proof of concept will always convert to project. But even if you deliver one proof of concept, it's always great because you help customers to save a lot of money. And the last thing is implementation is the easiest part, the easiest quote. What I mean by that is if you are sure that you want to pump millions of dollars into AI project, you probably have done so much proof of concept, so much use cases, simulation, return of investments, predictions, a lot of exercise before. And that's where the place for AI managers is. And probably you remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned about introduce yourself properly if you are AI strategy or AI manager. When it comes to implementation, I'm saying it's the easiest part, not because it's not a hard work, because implementing models, algorithms, data sets, synchronized infrastructure, picking up proper framework, it's a hard job and it requires a lot of smart brains. But the truth is that if you get there, you've done so much work before to make sure that that framework, that data set, and that model and that particular algorithm is the one you want to build. So saying by the easiest part, I'm not saying is the easy part, but that's the point when you require AI managers, which will conduct the project to the further stage. And this is a great opportunity for software houses, for consulting companies to build partnerships. That's how you crack into the AI market. It's extremely hard to get there by yourself. But if you partner with the right team at the right level of the value chain, this is very critical. And if you're a consulting company and you partner with the good software house, software development agency that has incredible engineers and are technology architects and data scientists on the board, that's when you can bring a lot of value. From the executive perspective, it's critical to find a consulting company that can bring you that partnership. Obviously, you might have a question if they are going to be objective, but conducting the preparation phase with one consulting company doesn't mean that you will not have to look for a software house or agency to help you to implement. So having the right people in the right place that build partnership already, it's critical to unlock that growth. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you soon in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.